Hi, everyone. Welcome to our webinar series on agent ownership today. We're excited to meet with you. I'm joined by Michele Harrington, our CEO, Anna Bennett, our Vice President of Business Development, and I am Lauren Haynes, VP of Marketing and Strategic Initiatives, and we're excited to be with you today. A couple of things that we're going to go over is the advantages of the agent ownership model, how we do it at First Team, the differences from going from being an individual agent into ownership, and how to get started. So with that, I'm going to talk with Anna and Michele, and we will give you the lowdown on what that looks like. So we've done a few agent ownership models recently. So tell me a little bit about what you think the benefits are from having that as opposed to being an individual agent.
I think that the benefits of an ownership model or going into even growing your team is that it's about career path. And so when you get into the business, from you're starting as a brand new agent, you have a goal to be able to get to a financial space in your life and to really grow and build your business to a specific level. And then at some point, you're going to hit a glass ceiling. And you're going to have more business than you can handle at that point. And so what the most natural step would be is to build into team model. And then from team model, there's a career plan that goes along with that. So,
yeah, I think we all get into this industry because we want freedom. You know, so you become an independent contractor, you get into real estate because you want the freedom to control your own destiny. Well, what happens is that you get too many clients, too many listings, too many buyers, and then all of a sudden you don't have any freedom anymore. So how do you build that so you have time to spend with your family, that you have your weekends off, that you're not running around sitting on all your open houses every weekend? So you do that by building maybe a team and then maybe an office and then maybe a company. And that's kind of like what I did when I got started. I started as an agent, and then I built a team, and then I built a company. And when I had my company, it gave me the opportunity to have agents where I'm getting a cut of their commission instead of me earning all the commission. And then I had weekends off, and then I had nights off, and then I didn't have to answer client calls anymore. So it changes your life. And it's a great way if you decide, I don't want to be an agent for the rest of my life. I want to build something. Then this is a great way to build something.
Yeah, and let's talk about a little bit about the transition from, an average ownership model to the differentiators between our ownership model. So let's talk about that and highlight on that, because Michele did a really good job of talking about how it gives you back your freedom. And one thing that I do want to talk about is the recruitment part. And that is such a vital part to any team, is recruiting the right people for your team that have the same values and goals. But also when we're looking at, recruiting a team, you want to recruit people who are a culture add, meaning they either are fantastic at something of their own, whether that's leadership, whether that's lead generation. So they're adding something to that team. So let's talk a little bit about the recruitment piece, and let's talk about a little bit about how our model's different.
yes, I think going in and transitioning from being an independently owned company and going under a relationship with First Team, or from a team model coming under a relationship with First Team from an ownership perspective, the value that we bring is staff and leveraging your time, allowing efficiency happening into your business, and looking at finding the top talent. The biggest challenge for most broker owners is the 3 R's: recruiting, retention, and revenue. And with those things, we really excel at finding the top talent to really grow and expand and take your business to the next level. We have the infrastructure in place to support them. We have the staff that's there making those outbound calls and finding that top talent and screening that talent and onboarding that talent to bring in that volume, the revenue, and really helping create that leveraging of their business.
Yeah, because I think when you decide I want to build a brokerage or I want to become an owner, then you have 3 different things you can do. You can join a franchise, and then you pay, a percentage. You send your percentage to New Jersey, and they give you a website and they give you a name. And I've done all 3 actually: independent, franchise, or affiliation. So the independent, you just do everything on your own. The franchise, you're doing everything on your own under somebody else's name. So it is the same thing as doing it on your own. They don't give you a marketing department. They don't give you a recruiting department. They don't give you legal help. They just give you a system. And that's okay, but it's very expensive for a system, especially when systems and technologies are so cheap. So we do something totally different where we give, like Anna said, the people. And that's what the most expensive thing is. So if you have an independent company and you have to hire your own marketing person, you have to hire your own legal help, you have to hire your own IT person, you have to hire your own recruiter, that's very expensive. We take that all off of our teams and agents' plate. We do it all for them. So they can build a company which is focusing on the 3 R's instead of focusing on how do I, accounting and balancing my checkbook and hooking up your computer to a copier and making sure my agents have the latest listing presentation. I mean, if I knew that this kind of model existed, it didn't. But if I knew this existed when I started my company, I absolutely would have went that way. And then I would have been able to concentrate on building, because you don't want to get bogged down with all the little things. And when you're an independent or a franchise, unfortunately, you get bogged down with all the little things.
And what I love is what we've done with the pod model. And part of that is really what is different is we are doing a business review of your business. We are meeting with recruitment, marketing, and sales to basically intertwined grow your business. So we are doing a deep dive in terms of a SWOT analysis. We are looking at where does your business come from and where do you want to be? What are your goals? And intertwined, our 3 departments work to help you get to that goal. One thing that you mentioned that is very true, that is very different from any other, when you get a marketing department or when you get marketing, it is not based on strategy to grow your business. It is your typical, here's a flyer, here's where it goes. Now, can we absolutely do that? Of course. But we're looking at it from a true, how do we grow your business and make you top in your market share and in your region? We are truly looking at, okay, here's where you are in terms of your competitors, and here are the method and advertising models that are going to get you to where you want to be. And we hold you accountable in an accountability model through our 3 departments to get you there. So it is something where you have a true advisor, a marketing advisor who is strategically trained in marketing. No other ad agency model can say that they have 75 years of experience at top ad agencies, top brands, in addition to real estate and tech. That's unheard of in our industry. So the fact that we have those professionals and we do that pod model is very unique and I think helpful to get them to grow faster.
Yeah, I mean, it's having a team around you. When you have a team around you that is supporting you for your growth, recruiting, marketing, legal, accounting, then you have the ability, like I said, to focus on actually growing instead of focusing on, being the marketing director of your own company.
Yeah.
I mean, so there's so many advantages that it's just a great way to run a business and make sure you're supported. It's hard to run a company all on your own. And when you do it on your own, even when you do it with a franchise, you're literally on your own.
Well, and I think that the alignment that we bring to the table as well is just looking at how can we leverage your time, but give you this amazing tech stack and give you this value proposition that's designed to really help find the best of the best to work with these amazing agents that you previously wouldn't likely be able to recruit because you didn't offer maybe the strategy that we're able to offer, or having a more robust marketing system that's designed to really help agents achieve their personal, professional, and financial goals.
And you bring up a good point because that's, it all ties back to our behind the agent philosophy. Everything that we do is we build careers, right? That's what we do. And unlike other, whether it is a publicly traded real estate brokerage or it's, a franchise, we're able to move and make agile decisions that other people could not make based on the needs of the agent and based on creating a seamless customer agent experience. That's what we do. So whereas we listen to our agents. So you mentioned the tech stack. We're building an entire new tech stack based on the needs of our agents, where somebody would typically go and get an out-of-box system and say, okay, it's 80% there, use it. We don't do that. We make sure that we listen to them, and our whole priority is their success and their growth. So now that we've talked about this model and the benefits, let's talk about a little bit of proofs of success of different teams that have taken on this model and what has been their experience in terms of growth.
I think part of it is when we're talking to these top teams, we're painting a picture of what could be.
Yeah.
And we're going over a future of what it would look like, of how we could leverage them, build in passive income streams, building in and taking their business to the next level. But what I love to see is that come to fruition and that actually become a reality, and seeing some of our top teams actually become these amazing business owners who are no longer in production.
Yeah, I agree with that. I mean, that's so exciting to see, especially the two of our top teams. I recruited them as brand new agents. So they came in as brand newbies, didn't know jack, and now they're running multi-million-dollar teams. And it's amazing to see them, and it's exciting for me. I think that's my favorite thing to do in this company, is to see these teams and agents really blossom to having their own companies now. Because I tell you what, when they signed up, they had no idea that one day they were going to have their own offices and their own companies and be making a lot of money. So it's awesome.
Well, and you've done an amazing job as well as really taking them under your wing, masterminding and mentoring them, and kind of leveling them up along the way. Because as you grow in your business, there are growing pains that you experience, things that you've never had to do before. So having somebody like you, and then the backing behind the company, behind them, giving them that kind of push out of the nest.
Yeah, and then our mastermind group, I just think, we have some of the top agents and top teams in Southern California in one group, and all these agents get to be a part of that and learn from agents that are doing it and have amazing systems and amazing ways of recruiting and amazing ways of growing. And they get to sit there and listen to that. And I think that's priceless as well.
100%.
Yeah.
So let's talk about the main things. Like, how do they know if ownership is right for them? Right? Because obviously there's certain things that, they need to be resilient. They need to be risk takers. They need to be committed. Let's talk about things the attributes that they do need to have, and then also like red flags of absolutely do not start and go into the ownership path.
I would say ownership's not for everybody. And
Absolutely.
you are going to have those agents who are just in love with working with their clients, and they don't love management. They don't love being systematized, and they don't want to take on any more responsibility. They just want to do what they do best.
And they don't
And
want
some
to
of them make plenty of money and do really well on their own, and that's fine, and that's great. If you want to be a leader in this industry or any industry, you have to be willing to put other people above yourself. Mm-hmm. You're going to have to be willing to serve other people, to teach other people, to mentor other people, and you're not number one anymore. Your team's number one. Yeah. And so if you're not willing to step back and be number 2 or 3 or 4 or 5, then it's not for you. It's definitely not for everybody.
100%.
Yeah.
Or like you said, have to plunge the toilets on occasion.
Yeah.
All right, so we're getting a few questions from our audience, so let's go over them. So what do you think the benefits are between ownership versus running a team?
So I think the ownership benefits are the ability to have eventual sale and equity. So if you own an office or a company and you are not doing a ton of the production, the problem is what most teams do is a team leader does 80-90% of the production, so then it's not really worth anything, because if you leave, 80-90% of the production goes out the window. So if you're building a company or you're building an office, then you have the ability to hopefully dial it back to 50% of the production, then maybe you're 40% of the production, then maybe 20% of the production. Then you have a saleable office. So I think salability is a big reason to do an office as opposed to a team.
And I agree with you there. I think that one of the balances that you have to think about is really what's most important to you. If you want to run a team, run your team. And that might be an ideal opportunity for you to really grow and expand your market share. But I think that from an ownership perspective, the easiest way to build out equity in your ownership, in the ownership model, is to look at other teams to be a part of your overall organization and look at ways that you can grow and expand that market share and build out that equity there, because that's really where the value of your company is going to come into play. What is your market share? What does that overall team, that footprint of agent per agent productivity look like into your office? And for you, there's multiple ways of growing that income coming in from not only your own personal team, other people's teams, new agents coming in, et cetera.
And we've had people that have come over as teams that now have multiple offices. Yeah. And like they're a company in itself and it's worth something. So you can eventually sell it and retire, or eventually hire a manager and just collect income.
Yep, exactly. And that's the benefit here, is that there is no real perfect option. There's many options. Yeah. It just has to be the right option for you.
Exactly.
And I think what I love about that is, like, even in our initial discussions, when we're having a discovery session regarding ownership and what works, you know, we are identifying, okay, what is important to you? Where do you want to be? It is that career pathing model. So we know to get you there, or what it takes to get you there, which is different than other people do.
100%.
We received another question in the chat, and it is, I'm an independent broker. How would the first team model benefit me?
That's a great question. And I think that as an independent broker owner, the benefit here is we have to look at those 3 R's, bringing it back to recruiting, retention, and revenue. And the area that we excel in is from recruiting the right talent and helping you build out your office, helping you build in retention strategies with our models that we have in place. And then how to build out your revenue through not only the growth of your agents that you have existing, but also how to build in your revenue from future agents that are coming into your company.
So I love that question, because I was an independent broker, chief cook and bottle washer, and I did, you know, my QuickBooks, and I cut my checks, and I, you know, did some marketing even, and all my own legal work. And, you know, it was crazy, the amount of things, the amount of hats that you have to wear when you're on your own. And wouldn't it be amazing if you had an accounting department, if you had somebody making the calls for you and setting you up with recruits, if you had a marketing department that you could call and say, I want a flyer, I want a postcard. It's just having people and having a team around you. It's 100% different than doing it all on your own. So I would say if you want to grow, if you're fine at your size of your, you know, 20 agent brokerage, or your 50 or 100, 200, and you're fine and like I'm cool where I'm at, and you don't mind doing everything, then that's fine. But if you want to grow and you want your time back, then this is 100% something that you should look into.
Absolutely.
That concludes our webinar for today. Thank you so much for joining us. Feel free to contact us, and we will get in touch with you soon regarding next steps on ownership.